Welcome to Ev's Shed. I'm going to make a cupboard with pigeon holes. 850 high by 730 wide by 300 millimeters deep. So now I need to cut the 3mm MDF to make the pigeonholes. I need to cut 350mm strip, so I'll set my table for 350. So that distance is 350. I need to make my next cut at 284, so I've set the table 284. Dash my piece. Once I make the slots in the top and the bottom, they'll fit in like this, right, like that, and slide in. I've set the depth to 4.5 millimeters, so I can fit in the pigeonhole spacer, 3mm MDF board across. So I've set this at 94mm. And I'll cut each of the top, bottom and the shelf. I've set the spacer with a bit of metal sheeting, so it will just give you that extra gap now to make it 3mm. I finished cutting all the timber. Here's the middle, the top and bottom, the two sides, the two doors and the backboard, and here are the pigeonhole dividers. We need to dress all our edges of our timbers. I've got some black iron-on edging, so you measure up a piece, cut it off the roll. We'll also need, these are iron-on, so we'll need a nice hot iron. Make sure it's not on steam function. Hold it down and then just apply the iron to it. Make sure you've got equal amount of overhang as you iron over the edge. And just slowly go over it, and you'll be adhering to the surface. I usually just check to make sure that the glue is activating, and then just go over it one more time. But this time I use a rag and just to push the glue down as I go. Okay, that's on. Give it a minute to dry. We've let that dry now, so I've used very light pressure and just try and lift it up. If it lifts up at all, that means that it hasn't glued onto the surface. So you just go over it again with the iron, but we'll just check. No, hasn't, not lifting. So that's adhered well. So now we need to clean the edges. So there's two things we can use to clean it. We use a very sharp knife or a very, very sharp chisel. So it depends on whatever your preference is. I'll show you both, and then you can make up your mind on what you want to use when you do it. So we'll use the chisel first. So we'll start at one end. just slowly cut into it, and it's more of a a slicing down motion. You can see I'm just rotating, just slice it down, lift it back, slice it down, and then again. So once you get comfortable with it, just go a little bit faster. So let me show you how to do it using a very sharp blade. So it's again the same motion, it's just a circular motion, slice down, pull back, slice down. I find using the thicker chisel, you get better control over it. See how easy it is to control the chisel blade, and it's much faster than the blade. We'll just feel the edges, make sure it's nice and smooth. There's nothing overhanging. If there is, just go over it again with the chisel or the fine blade. Just completed the top board. You can see I've done the front edge, done the side, and also the other side. I've mocked all my timber up. I'm ready to screw it all together to make my cabinet. This is the backing board, the side, and the top. I've got the corners nice and square, so I don't have any special jigs. I've just used these clamps so it butts up against it. All I need to do now is make a pilot hole. When screwing in screws, make a pilot hole that's slightly smaller than the screw you're using. So I know where exactly to mark and drill the hole. What I've done is I've made this little jig. So it tells me where I need to mark. So this is exactly the thickness of the other timber on the other side. And I put the center there. So all I need to do is run this. There's a notch down the bottom there. Put my pencil on it, and you can see I've already marked it. So let's drill in the next hole. So we know where the mark is. As you can see, half the cabinet has now been made. For this side, what I've done is put a square in there, so I've squared up my edges. Now all I need to do is exactly the same, pilot hole and screw it in. I'm placing my screws 80mm from the top, 200 down, 200 down, and then 50mm from the bottom. Got my little jig. How easy it is to actually mark the center of where I'm going to drill. I've completed the outer cupboard carcass. Now all I need to do is enter the middle shelf. And then slot these in, dividers, like so. And then add the doors. So here's the door. One door goes here. So I'll add the hinges to the doors. Here's the other door. We'll add the hinges to the corners, and we'll add the handles. So these are the hinges I'm going to use. Take it apart. Use the template. So I've already marked where I want the hinges to go. So just mark up the template exactly in line where you want to go. Use a hole punch I mark it. So there's another template. You line it up with the mark where I've marked it. There's 2 holes, one there and one there. I now need to drill the hole 11 millimeters deep so I can put in the hinge. I've clamped it down to my drill press. I've set the gauge. There's the hole, and that fits in nicely there. Okay, so I've attached my hinges to the door. Now ready to attach the other part of the hinge to the cabinet. So let's now add the doors. We've put all the hinges on there now. So let's see, and adjusted them. Let's see if the doors close. That is perfect. A nice gap, even gap between 2 doors. Let's put the inside in. Now we need to add our pigeonholes. All we need to do is add some glue. In. And that's it. So we'll keep on doing the rest. So I finished putting all the dividers in there. I left a couple open so we could put extra room in there. Now we're ready to put the handles on the doors. So we want the handles about here. So what I've got is it's a jig. You line it up, line the holes up, you centre it, and then you drill where you want to put the holes in. We've drilled the holes for the screws, so now all we need to do is just screw them on. There's our 2 handles. The cupboard is all complete. All the pigeonholes are in. I've left a couple of extra wide ones there. I've also added some holes so we can attach it to the wall. I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen today. If you have, please subscribe to Ev's Shed. Thanks for watching. Catch you later.